Hey guys, today on Disney Talks, I want to take a moment to just talk about something kind of serious lately this past few weeks. As of right now, I have not seen Wish, so I don't really know who Kim Mythico is just yet. To be honest, I really don't know much about him yet. So don't take anything I say about him in this video. And also, keep in mind this is my opinion. If you don't like Kim Mythico, I respect that. If you don't like certain villains, I respect that. But all in all, this is my certain personal opinion about Disney villains where they are today. So if you have a different way of seeing them, tell in the comments below what you think. But please be nice about it because, well, we all have Disney villains, and they're all pretty good inside in some ways. Because what I'm about today is about to teach you something interesting about Disney villains. Over the years, Disney villains have been somewhat interesting. Like, for the most part, people expect the straightforward villains, like Scar and Ursula. The best ones are kind that are just straight, and they know things better. Lately, Disney has been making newer Disney villains that have been changing over the years. Starting out with the Disney villains who don't really reveal their intentions until the very end of the movie, like Hans, where he does not exactly appear to be evil until the very end of the movie, where he reveals his true intentions. Disney has been doing this for quite some time, starting with Hans, then Bellwether, and many other Disney villains. It's been telling the same trope over the years. It was getting pretty old for some people, even me for a while. But then we got Oblella, who, yes, was a secretive villain, but she wasn't the kind that really meant to hurt anyone. She just had emotional trauma, and with that came the evilness of her evil side, making her the villain of Encanto. And then there's many other villains that have different things, like the villain I talked about in Raya and the Last Dragon, which you could talk about in the next video that I have right here on this channel. But all in all, these villains all were the same for quite some time for Disney, and I think there's a good reason why. For one thing, there are some movies right now that don't exactly have a villain at all. Some Disney movies, like Mary Poppins or Be the Pooh, who do have villains, but they don't really quite tap into them all too much. With all these villains coming around, it can get pretty repetitive and annoying to see all these villains and all these changes happening. I can understand why somebody would want to hate all these villains and kind of miss all the good old days with all the straightforward villains. So, with that in mind, what I'm going to talk about is something very important about Disney villains today. Whether you are a Disney fan or not, it is very safe to say that Disney villains are all different. All of them are. Everybody has their own personality and their own style. Some are scary, some are cute, some are just weak, like Oblella, who is kind of just the evil. Not that too evil, though. And there's some that are just evil just because they want to get something. Like with Edgar, who wanted the riches of the Aristocats and put their money in first. He never wanted to hurt the kittens anyway, just wanted to get them out of the way just so he could have the money. So he never was truly a threat at all, in a way. Like I said, and there are some bad villains out there, like Frollo, who will do anything just to get his way, and just will kill anyone just so he can get in his way as well. There are some villains out there who truly care about their henchmen and their well-being, and there's some out there who don't, like Frollo, who just despise all henchmen entirely and just kills them just so he can do it just for the heck of it. But again, for the most part, like I said, there's not one kind of Disney villain. They're all different and all special in all special ways, just like heroes are. Unlike Disney heroes can be predictable at times, but they can be the I want trope of the story, where they are all the same, and they are all just, well, nice characters in the end. Sure, some of them are very different, but they're all the same that they want something, and they all want to do something. Villains, they're a little bit unpredictable. You don't know exactly what they're going to do or what their intentions are just yet, until you find down the story, how they interfere with the hero. Sure, the hero is supposed to be a foil to the villain, But in a way, it's nice to wonder what that treatment will be for them, for that particular hero or villain. The generation has changed over the years. Some people just don't, in stories, you don't have to have a straightforward villain anymore. We used to have straightforward villains because we had to, just to compare the hero to the villains. But nowadays, you can have a villain and still let it be nice, and still let it be strong enough for the story to go on. People can now make stories with villains that can be good or bad or have interesting intentions. You just gotta learn a way to juggle with it. And it works perfectly with certain stories like Encanto and many others. So in a way, we gotta learn to accept some of the Disney villains for who they are. And who knows, we might get something curiously amazing with some of them. With that in mind, Disney villains are changing, and for good or for better or for worse. And I think it's kind of exciting to see what the next villain will be like. It can be something out of nowhere, like Hans, where you don't really know who the villain is yet until the very end. I found myself guessing who the villain was the entire time I was watching Frozen, until we got to the very end where we found out it was Hans. I was not expecting that at all, and I thought it was pretty exciting that we got to see that. It could have been the Duke of Weaselton, but I got the idea that it was Hans eventually. But again, I did not see that coming. It was pretty exciting to see that. It was also pretty exciting to see what happened in Kanto, who the villain was too. I like this game that Disney's doing with my mind. I don't think I want to go anywhere. I think Disney's very aware of their villain tropes these days, and they want to try something new with all of them, which is okay. You don't have to be prepared of other villains all the time. Sure, Disney will go back to the straightforward villain genre eventually, but until then, there'll be other Disney villains that will be the same as well. Again, as long as Disney has villains, it'll never be different ever again. There'll always be a villain no matter what. I mean, sure, there may be a few different ones here and there, but they're all Disney villains in the end, right? I mean, why not? There's always a foil in the Disney universe, and there always will be, no matter what kind of villain it is. In the end, I love Disney villains. I wouldn't change them for the world. In the end, villains have to change to benefit the story, and I'm glad we got new Disney villains that work beautifully in their own way. I am happy for Disney villains. What about you? Tell me in the comments below what villains you like, and tell me more, and let me know what you think about King Mythico. I haven't seen him yet, but I assume that he's a very interesting villain. I wonder what he'll be like. I don't really know just yet, but I wonder if he'll be like Gabby Gabby. He could be like Gaston, maybe a little bit handsome looking. I said that in most of the trailers where some people say he's a handsome king. I wonder if he'll be more like Gaston, maybe. We'll have to wait and see in the movie. So, see ya, bye.